Good afternoon to everyone here and to everyone who is joining us on the internet as well. Before we begin, I need to mention that as many of you know, and some of you don't, the gathering scheduled for next Saturday, September 20th, has been canceled. As a result of the announcement, many have gone through interesting imaginations, and some wild conclusions have been arrived at, and others have felt that perhaps it was their fault because of something they did that the gathering was canceled. But it's simpler than that, really. We were speaking last Sunday, about rehabilitation. About the fact that although everyone may think they have the right to behave in any way they wish, they do not have the right to do it without objection. And in your thinking processes, you should not ever assume that anything goes. That is the new metaphysical and spiritual paradigm. That anything goes and it must be allowed. In talking about this, as I did, it brought home a point to Paul and Susan regarding something in their lives that was not getting attended to. That objection was not being made to, and something that literally calls for rehabilitation. After the meeting was over, they spoke with me at some length, and Paul with me until nearly 5 in the morning. And in the course of our conversation, I made it clear that indeed this area in their lives needed to be addressed, and that addressing it was incompatible with the preparation necessary for the gathering on the 20th, and that it had higher priority. And so, at my direction, Paul announced that the gathering was canceled. The specifics are irrelevant. But I ask that instead of indulging in vain imaginings, and instead of speculating via the grapevine, that each one give Paul and Susan the benefit of the doubt and assume the best. They are about their Father's business, if I may put it that way. And they are being obedient to the call that is on their plate. It's that simple. We will have the gathering on Sunday, the ACIM Study Group, as we are right now, and the format will be as it has been every Sunday. Okay. chapter 5. Healing and wholeness. Two words that necessarily go together. Because healing is always the uncovering of wholeness. Healing is always the revealing of you to you as what the Father is being right there in all the fullness of His self-expression. Healing is not the changing of one thing into another. It's the uncovering of the only thing that could ever have been there from the beginning, no matter how covered over it has become by your commitment to a belief that you are less than whole. To heal is to make happy. I have told you before to think how many opportunities you have to gladden yourselves and how many you have refused. This is exactly the same as telling you that you have refused to heal yourselves. The light that belongs to you is the light of joy. Radiance is not associated with sorrow. Depression is often contagious, but although it may affect those who come in contact with it, they do not yield to the influence wholeheartedly. You all resist depression. Continuing, but joy calls forth an integrated willingness to share in it, and thus promotes the mind's natural impulse to respond as one. In other words, singularly, not divided up between a desire to be happy and a desire to be resentful, a desire to feel your joy and a sense of necessity to attend to something unpleasant, which you therefore have reluctance to attend to. Again, joy calls forth an integrated willingness to share in it, and thus promotes the mind's natural impulse to respond as one. Those who attempt to heal without being wholly joyous themselves call forth different kinds of responses at the same time. What that means is that you send out different messengers simultaneously. You send out messengers of expectancy and of hope and of doubt and of fear. And those messengers go out, find confirmation, and return to you. And they return to you with conflicted messages, which cause you to continue to be conflicted. Your conflict is reinforced. Again, those who attempt to heal without being wholly joyous themselves call forth different kinds of responses at the same time, and thus deprive others of the joy of responding wholeheartedly. To be wholehearted, you must be happy. If fear and love cannot coexist, and if it is impossible to be wholly fearful and remain alive, which of course isn't an option you have available to you, then the only possible whole state is that of love. So then, what's the first essential element in the healing of your mind that will constitute the healing of your world, of your neighbor, of your friend, your brother, etc. It is your willingness to abandon fear, right where fear seems to be called for. Whether it's behavior that arouses fear in you, whether it's a physical condition that arouses fear in you, you must be willing to abandon the fear and move into that place in you where love is felt, where your love is available. That must be more important to you than reacting to fear. That's part of the healing process. If you are going to be a healer, you would have to make commitment to that first step constantly. You would know that's the way it works, and therefore, this is my task. This is the way I do it. I consciously choose to abandon my inclination to react with fear. And instead, I insist upon connecting with my ever-present capacity to feel and be the presence of love, so that from that love, I may extend a singularity of intent and send out only one kind of messenger, so that it might return to me with confirmation of its energy, of its intent, and of its blessing. Continuing. To heal, or to make joyous, is therefore the same as to integrate and to make one. That is why it makes no difference to what part or by what part of the sonship the healing is done. Every part benefits and benefits equally. I know that most of the time all of you feel alone, but listen to this. You are being blessed by every beneficent thought of any of your brothers anywhere. If you will remember that, it will cancel out your feeling of isolation. And you will find yourself receptive to the experience of the love embodied in those beneficent thoughts. And you will realize just how much value there is in your extending to your brothers and sisters only beneficent thoughts. You do not have to know them individually, the ones from whom those beneficent thoughts come. You do not have to know them individually, or they you. The light is so strong that it radiates throughout the sonship and returns thanks to the Father for radiating His joy upon it. Only God's holy children are worthy to be channels of His beautiful joy. And let me be very clear right now. He doesn't have any unholy children. So it isn't a classification that maybe you're in and maybe you're not. The reason it says this is that only God's holy children are worthy to be channels of His beautiful joy because only they are beautiful enough to hold it by sharing it. It is impossible for a child of God to love his neighbor except as himself. That is why the healer's prayer is, let me know this brother as I know myself. Whether you say the prayer or not, it's a law. It's the way it works. And so you can reverse it and say, as I know myself, I know my brother. That's just the way it is. So how do you know yourself at the moment? A bastard, a prick, a bitch? A difficult person, a cranky person, someone in her period. Whatever way you know yourself, you have no capacity to see anyone else differently. And the way you are knowing yourself is what constitutes the messengers you send out into your world to look for confirmation. Now, if the messengers are coming from the ego, they are as dishonest as the ego. And so they will always lie when they return and confirm to you what they were sent out to find. They haven't the capacity to return true messages to you. And that's important to understand. Again, you must understand that when you send liars out, they will come back with lies and confirm to you your belief about yourself. And therefore, your belief will end up coloring everyone in your experience with lies. So you can't escape what you have set into motion. Take a look at that honestly, because in looking at it honestly, it will allow you to make a new choice as to what messengers you're willing to send out. And if the messengers coming from your ego structures, from your mutually agreed upon definitions, and your misperceptions of truth, cannot but report to you that which confirms your sad state of being, then you, understanding that, will choose to go to a different source to learn what messages to send out, what messengers to send out. You will learn that if you want to escape suffering, and if you wish to escape the confirmation of the need for suffering, you must find that place of excellence in you. So that you might be informed by it about yourself. And in that informing, have new messengers to send out, which will then confirm to you your holiness when they return, by confirming to you your brother's or sister's holiness to you. That's called making one. That's called becoming undivided. That's called becoming unfragmented. That's called becoming singular in intent. And what is singular in intent is singular in result. It's a law. It's absolutely dependable. And equally dependable is that fragmented messengers sent out will come back with fragmented confirmation of your sad state of existence, even though it will be a lie. Next heading, healing as joining. Healing is an act of thought by which two minds perceive their oneness and become glad. And become glad. This gladness calls to every part of the sonship to rejoice with them, because there are no private thoughts. And lets God Himself go out into them and through them. The messengers you send out from the place of excellence in you are messengers of God. They go out with God's message of His joy and His love. And they confirm His presence in everyone and everything they meet. And they return to you. Not with threats of war, but with an olive branch in its beak. Continuing, only the healed mind can experience revelation with lasting effect, because revelation is an experience of pure joy. Okay, only the healed mind. That means only the mind which, by your conscious choice, has become singular in intent. Even if it's only for the space of 10 minutes, or 5 minutes, or 2. Only the healed mind can experience revelation with lasting effect, because revelation is an experience of pure joy. If you do not choose to be wholly joyous, your mind cannot have what it does not choose to be. Again, it's just the way it works. Remember that the soul knows no difference between being and having. The higher mind thinks according to the laws which the soul obeys, and therefore honors only the laws of God. To him, getting is meaningless, and giving is all. Having everything, the soul holds everything by giving it, and thus creates as the Father created. If you think about it, you will see that while this kind of thinking is totally alien to having things, even to the lower mind it is quite comprehensible in connection with ideas, which is what we've just been talking about. If you share a physical possession, you do divide its ownership. If you share an idea, however, you do not lessen it. All of it is still yours, although all of it has been given away by the sending out of the messengers of love. Further, if the person to whom you give it accepts it as his, he reinforces it in your mind. The messengers come back confirming the truth, and thus increases it. If you can accept the concept that the world is one of ideas, the whole belief in the false association which the ego makes between giving and losing is gone. Let's not turn that page too fast. let's not skip over something important here. If you can accept the concept, it's really the truth, but it's easier for you to think of it as a concept at the moment. If you can accept the concept that the world is one of ideas, It's not a world of matter. It's a world constituted of God's ideas, pure spirit, ideas which embody the intent of their source, that being God. And the intent of their source, being God, is to embody and express God perfectly. His nature, His character, His intent, His singularity, and therefore the impossibility of His expression being conflicted. Therefore, demonstrating the fact that every idea of God is a joyful idea. A joyful idea, the substance of which is the Spirit of God. And once again, we're talking about the petal on the rose, the glass on the tabletop, your fingernail. It's an idea. And it's not an idea an ego made up. Your ego may have made up a secondary definition about a primal, original, eternal idea of God. But that about which it created a definition is real, and it is spirit. And it embodies God and His singularity, and therefore it is the embodiment of joy in the act of giving its joy away to be experienced by all universally. Now that's the fact. And that's the fact about an appendix that's about ready to burst. And that's the fact about a part of the body that seems to be cancerous. And that's the fact about a digestive tract that doesn't seem to be functioning properly. But you're not going to be able to see it and experience it until you're willing to become a healer who knows first of all that it's necessary for him or her to abandon the inclination to react to the appearance or to the symptoms or to the definitions that seem to be embodied, and to choose for your peace, so that your mind might become single, and so that in that peace you might access the place of excellence in you, in which God's perspective is available to you, so that you might send out new messengers that are unconflicted, which will return to you, confirming purity, integrity, healing.